is trouble. So my son, you could be ready to let good foundation. Earlier the better, in the nearest future, you will be one of the leaders. So we pray.
For the Magician and Xander's Okeke.
The People's Voice.
I'm a graduate with a BSc. I'm on the streets.
We need for security in this country because innocent souls are dying.
The People's Voice.
Security challenges in the country. We need to do a fiscal expansion. That is a bigger budget to create some headroom for capital projects.
We either have a government or we don't.
The People's Voice. 9 to 10 a.m. Only on 107.3
Darling FM.
Yeah, where the meat now?
Yeah, don't bring water and soap for you now.
Wait, make a chop soup. Madam, make a manage it. Madam, put meat for this food. You go bring food, you don't put meat inside. Either you put the meat or you go return my money. I go pay for food, you don't put meat inside. Yeah, I say make you put meat for the food. If you not put meat, then return my money. See, now, return my money if you not go put meat. I say make you put meat for the food.
People, this meat matter, it be like democracy. If government no do as them supposed to, no gree o. Do something. Say something.
Yeah, the woman enter. Where you go bring my meat come?
See your meat.
Mama, you dey talk.
The People's Voice at the sign on 107.3 Darling FM.
You know, say for a free blow whistle for inside match, if it means if somebody don't commit foul to that, and if coachy blow whistle, if it means say training don't start be that.
Release the ball, pass. Ayali head out. Ayali head.
When we dey practice our local dance and whistle blow, if it means say we dey change style. If people for government no do wetin dem suppose do, abeg go dem office go blow whistle for dem head. Gather on yourself and blow the whistle loud. Make them hear you and do wetin dem suppose do.
Still on the People's Voice.
Good morning, welcome to the People's Voice on 107.3 Darling FM. I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Sanders. Okay, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Our guest is Professor Sam Ezeanyika.
Good morning, listeners.
Yes, welcome. Professor Sam is with the Department of Political Science, Imo State University. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. Wishing the same to others.
Well, images of violent rioters storming the U.S. Capitol stunned the world yesterday as a pro-Trump mob breached police barricades and sought to force Congress to undo President Donald Trump's election loss. Lawmakers were gathered in a joint session to certify President-elect for Joe Biden's victory, and this protest forced the lawmakers to evacuate as Trump supporters turned violent and stormed the building, making their way into the Senate chamber. We're going to take a look at what's playing out in the U.S. right now and how the world is reacting to the development in the U.S.
Well, let's also quickly tell you that during the invasion, 4 people died during the mayhem at the Capitol yesterday. But however, Congress resumed to certify Biden's win. So it's
a win for democracy.
Yeah, it's a win. Of course, it's going to be a win for democracy. Democracy wins most times.
Before we pick Professor Sam's thought on this, I would like for us to listen to a United States journalist and how he's describing what's playing out in the U.S.
This is Olbermann versus Trump. The United States of America has been the victim of a terrorist attack orchestrated by the President of the United States of America. This was Donald Trump's 9/11. He must be removed from office immediately. Even the National Association of Manufacturers, basically the most conservative element of corporate America, has called upon the vice president to seriously consider invoking the 25th Amendment to replace Trump. That will do, for now. The plot was not complicated. Trump fomented terrorism stochastically. Trump refused the resources needed to stop the terrorism. Trump then intended to claim the situation was out of control and he would have to respond to an attack on democracy by suspending democracy. But just as importantly, the others who enabled this day of nightmares to come true must be held accountable now. Congresswoman Bush is drawing up a bill of expulsion for those representatives who incited this terrorism, presumably including the Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy of the California 23rd. Just before the coup began, Senator Hawley of Missouri gave the insurrectionists a raised fist salute of support, and Rudy Giuliani called for, quote, trial by combat. Their careers are finished. The president's daughter, even in asking for the attack on the Capitol to end, called the traitorous mob, quote, American patriots. Her treason clothing brand is now done. And Trump's terrorists who went into the Capitol or threatened state capitals will have to face charges of attempting to overthrow our government. Happily, their own social media feeds will likely be enough to convict them. Be of good cheer. This will end with democracy victorious, the coup disemboweled, and today's traitors facing trial. But what has been almost lost during this terrible day is that gangs of terrorists did not just attack the House and Senate physically, they also attacked in a way to make them suspend the confirmation of the Electoral College vote. What truly matters now is what happens when the Senate and House resume and reconvene and do their duty. That vote needs to be unanimous, because this was not the true stress test of our democracy. That is.
Well, that's the pulse of what's going on in the United States as we speak. Of course, developments have, as Xander said, led to the death of some Americans, some protesters. And, well, there's the talk of impeaching Trump right now. Let's have your thought on this.
I would like, if you allow me, to give a little background that could have created this kind of situation in the United States. This situation is not accidental. It's been evolving and developing. There is this inbuilt white supremacist tendency among Americans which creates a situation where white feel that they are supreme and all other people are below them. And they have this chauvinistic tendency towards women and total inconsideration on black or colored people. Now, some very profound changes have started occurring in the American political arena for a while now. We had a situation where Hillary Clinton was a candidate. It is totally unacceptable even to white Americans who are basically, they call themselves nationalists. They call themselves patriots. Some people call them supremacists. The fact that they began to lose grip, and that is what is happening to Donald Trump now. He is feeling that he is the last man standing who can revert and return the situation to status quo ante. Now, this is a situation where a woman came up and contested for presidency and won, in fact, the popular vote, but was not able to win the collegiate vote. And you still have a black man was president in that country, Barack Obama. Now you have a black woman who is a vice president, to a president who is quite old, with the possibility of her replacing the president. You are having a scenario that is totally inconceivable in the mind of the ordinary American who endemically is racist, who rejoices or takes joy in the fact that wherever he stands in the pedal of poverty, there is somebody beneath him. There is somebody he is also putting his leg on his head. This makes him or her feel good. That is why when some of them were interviewed, they said they will not accept a Biden presidency. And this thing didn't just start overnight. The president of the United States of America announced this ahead of time, that any election result that did not return him to the White House will not be accepted by him. So we need to take a historical perspective and an evolutionary perspective on what is happening. It didn't just start immediately. It's been evolving over time, and the resultant effects are now being demonstrated.
Well, it's the number one topic in the world right now, the number one trend on social media. And I'll just take this tweet so you can react to it. Michael McFall on Twitter says, dictators around the world are celebrating today. Their democratic opponents are not. Today was a horrific day for democracy in America and the world. So should this be a learning process for countries that are not so democratic to see what happens when you don't stick to the rules of the game? Or is it a case of, even the America cannot practice democracy?
This is a disaster situation, really. The rest of the world that anchors itself on the principles of democracy tend to use America as a model, even though some of us do not believe that the American model is the most effective. It does not give you above 50% of people voting for a particular candidate. Just like in the French system, where there must be 55% acceptability of the president for him to emerge. That is why he could go to the first round and the second round and possibly a third round. And so this, it is a situation where America has distinguished itself over time as a model of democracy, emulated by the majority of nations and despised by autocratic government. And now autocratic government are having a swell time looking at America make a mess of what the whole world believes in, what the whole world is adhering to and following. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, because this is going to be one step forward for some of the countries that are in a democratizing process, and many steps backwards for those who are sit-tight presidents in the various developing and underdeveloped nations of the world, particularly in Africa. Africa is going to be worse affected.
Let's look at the role of the media in all of this, because for some media outlets yesterday, there were insinuations that Trump lost that election majorly because of the role played by major media outlets in the United States. Does that have any connection to what happened yesterday? And even if you listen to this, saying that a protest is terrorist action is too heavy, if you ask me, because for me that was a protest yesterday at the Capitol, but he's terming it a coup and act of terrorism.
Anything that is directly in opposition with the Constitution that guide the principles of cohabitation and administration in the country, it should be considered as a coup.
As a coup?
Yes.
But not terrorism.
Well, terrorism is carrying out actions and activities that are, after all, terrorism is construed in a parameter. Yes, there have been tremendous criticism of the media, but the media has been doing its job to inform, to educate, and to entertain. You see, what happened in the Capitol last happened, I can't remember how many years somebody mentioned yesterday in a program, so many years ago, when America was still, in quote, a primitive country, evolving, developing. For it to happen in contemporary world, in the 21st century, in a globalized international system, I don't know which other word, but then again, this is juggling of words. You are picking on those words, particularly because you felt or may have felt offended or felt that they were too high-handed.
Too harsh, yeah.
Well, the situation was really harsh.
Yeah,
Capitol is the ultimate place where the sanctity of American democracy is located. For you to infiltrate it in such a bastardized manner,
we're talking about
is uncalled for. Let me use is unbecoming.
I've been trying to interject because if we're already talking about explosives being found around the area, we're talking about 4 people already being shot and killed. We're talking about
it's no longer a normal situation.
Breaking the windows to enter and invade the Capitol, and we've seen citizens take pictures on the seat of the
Senate, the president.
Even in Africa, that is not done.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we've seen the Nigerian Senate being invaded lawmakers were climbing over the gates.
Yeah.
Nobody.
But I hope you're not comparing the democracy or the democratic trends in Nigeria and those in the U.S.
Yeah, but if dictators all over the world are laughing now, it means that the example we are even following, just like you said, is not what emulating.
No, it is what emulating. It is that. Let's not restrain and constrain our parameters of analysis on Donald Trump. Donald Trump may be reflective of a particular feeling, the feeling of loss of power, the feeling of infiltration by non-pure white, non-patriotic white. But that does not mean that American democracy has collapsed. We are witnessing a situation where if it is really a true democracy, if it is not a democratizing process, it is going to rebound. Once in this station, I talked about the democracy project, the democratizing process, and democracy itself. America is a democracy. So it has the capacity and the internal capability, the institution to rebound. That is why when those sacred institutions that renew the American system at any given time, even when it is under tremendous attack, when they are attacked, the entire country, the entire world feels attacked.
Right. Let's look at the role played by the Vice President, Mike Pence, and that this will also goes to show how strong the American democracy is. He is the leader of the Senate. He has the opportunity to influence the minds of the Senate, to sway towards Trump, and of course, which will favor him as the vice president. But he has come out to condemn the invasion. He has also said that he's not going to sway the minds of the Congress. He's going to let them do their job and do the counting and actually give legitimacy to the vote that brought Joe Biden in as president. So here is a man whom, by virtue of the votes and the election going to Joe Biden, he's going to leave office. He's going to step aside for a woman to become the vice president, but has chosen to stay by the Constitution. This obviously is a moral compass, and to a large extent, we have not seen it in Nigeria's democracy. The vice or the deputy governor always go the way of the principal. But here, the vice president in the United States is standing against what Donald Trump is saying. What does this say to Nigerians?
Well, it is a lesson, but I think let's be practical. It's a long shot lesson in the sense that we are a democracy project, still striving to become a democratizing process. We are talking about here a democracy project nation and a democratic nation. The poles are wide. The learning process is still very enormous. We do not have functioning and functional institutions. INEC is not one. There must be institutions that can be self-sustaining, that are not dependent on the whims and caprices of whosoever is the person in power at a given time. This is what democracy is all about. The capacity of institutions to rejuvenate themselves and be able to act, take decisions, because they are based on commonly agreed grounds that are supported by the will of the people. That is why the Vice President of America, even after being invited for a private dinner by the President, of course intended to soften his leg, maybe make him change his opinion or sway him, he still came out and said that America will prevail. And let the will of the people of America prevail.
Right.
This is because he believes in the capital. He believes in what we call our National Assembly here. They believe in it.
We have to take some commercials at this time. Please. We'll continue from here, so stay tuned.
Darling FM 107.3,
The People's Radio.
Introducing
repackaged and reloaded Zaza Hotels.
Strategically accessible from Onisha Road by Lost Chosen Church and World Bank.
It is rebranded for your pleasure and comes with free Wi-Fi, 24 hours power supply, cinema quality HD screen for football lovers, Olympic-sized swimming pool, snooker and table tennis board.
That's not all. African and continental dishes, not forgetting the exquisitely furnished rooms to match your taste. Just step into Zaza Hotel for first-class hospitality service. Zaza Hotel is located at number 28 Yarado Drive, Owerri.
For more inquiries, call 0803-785-8386 or 0803-743-2115.
Everyone has a place they need to be. Everyone has a face they need to see. When you go away, you love to fly, and we fly you safely through the skies. Ticket affordable, city comfortable, we very reliable. We care for you. Peace, our home. If you're gonna
For bookings and more, visit our website today on www.flyairpeace.com.
Italy, when you're gassing a cylinder again, Virgin Energy Services, yeah, when you're ready, I also wear that cylinder, girl, then you're so poor. Virgin Energy Services.
Nne, nke ị na-ebugharị silinda iburugbago iburugbada.
Maazị Ibe, ike agwụla m o. Amaghị m ebe ọzọ ga-abụ nga agbata gas njesi nri. Ndị sure maka
ozugo nwaanyị orogwe ekpesazina maka na ndị na-eji mega gas plant awụchala ọzọ n'orogwe anyị a lee nnukwu oke n'ekwekwa bọgịrị savisi ha na-enye kara aka ha bụrụ ụzọ ha anara gị silinda gị gbajuru gị ya ojupụ m n'ọnụ ha ewere aka ha dọnyere gị ya na moto ha na-erekwazi silinda na accessories ya ma na-edozikwazi silinda mebiri emebi mgbagaba ugbu a na uhu afọmakọ dị so n'ụlọ ụka ndị Salvation Army Orogwe Owerri West Local Government Area of Imo State ka ịbara okwu n'ụlọ pụọ n'akara ekwentị a 09137720001 maọbụ ị gaa na webụsaịtị anyị www.regimgas.com.ng ma cheta na anyị nwere Regime Gas Plant n'Egbu Road n'iru Relief Market Owerri ya na Warrior North Pocket Layout Irete Egbada Junction Onitsha Road Owerri. Regime Mega Gas Plant esimesi ebirila ọkụ.
Twisco, power your dream.
Rental hotel and suites. I'm all the way from home. Rental hotel and suites. For your luxury and comfort. Enjoy yourself with good hospitality.
Mr. Charles, how was the night?
I slept like a newborn baby. It's so awesome.
Your comfort is my priority.
Thanks, Mike.
Think of home. Think of Rental Hotel and Suites.
Rental Hotel and Suites is a world-class hotel aiming at redefining the hospitality perception. Pristinely clean with exceptional services of international standard. You can get exclusive rooms of different types. World-class swimming pool, gym, ample parking slots, laundry services, internet services, conference hall, African and intercontinental dishes. And at Rental Hotel, you can get complimentary breakfast. We also have executive bar, cool bar, and we offer airport transfer. Visit Rental Hotel and Suites at Rental Roundabout, former 4040 Roundabout, New Owerri, or call 0704-984-5794.
Rental Hotel and Suites.
Rental Hotel and Suites, a place to be.
Are you not tired of living in a rented apartment? Sack your landlord.
Cubana View Estate. It can only be Cubana. Cubana View Estate is located just opposite Redemption Estate, Port Harcourt Road, Obinze. Cubana View Estate, Obinze. With 2.5 million naira, you can get yourself a plot of land inside Cubana View Estate, Obinze, Port Harcourt Road, Obinze, just opposite Redemption Estate, Obinze, Imo State. I encourage you to buy as many plots as possible. This is the best time for you to buy. If you buy from Cubana View Estate, you will get it at 2.5 million naira now instead of 5 million naira. Pay 50%. Just pay half the price and enjoy this promo. This is a fantastic season. Enjoy this Happy New Year promo. For more inquiry, I beg make you call 081-3954-0424. 081-3954-0424. One more time, 081-3954-0424. Cubana View Estate. It can only be Cubana.
Ndimo, may I have your attention? The season of love and exchange of gifts is here again, and it won't be out of place for Her Excellency Mrs. Choma Uzodimma, a youth herself, and the brilliant youth of Imo State to receive memorable New Year gifts from their fans, friends, and admirers. So, that's just Media and Strategies Firm and the Office of the SA to the Governor on Youth and Sports are putting up for auction a 12 million naira prize art piece done in honor of the Imo youths and Her Excellency, the youngest First Lady in all of Nigeria. The art piece will be bought by 12 fans, friends, and admirers of Imo youths and Her Excellency at 1 million naira each. Half of the funds generated will be given to Imo female entrepreneurs, and the bid winners will have the privilege of presenting the art gifts to Her Excellency. For sponsorship, partnership, and inquiries to purchase the art piece, call 0803-629-7836.
Darling FM 107.3.
26 past 9, you're still tuned to 107.3 Darling FM. Professor Sam Ezianyika is still in the studio with us, and we're taking a look at what's playing out in the US and how countries around the world, including Nigeria, is responding. While the commercials were going on, we're talking about the role of the media and how it has impacted on the American voters. I'll take this comment on from Twitter. This is from Victor Babantude, who says, I love the support and energy Nigerians are giving to America, but what's very funny is how our Nigerian channels, and he mentioned some, broadcast everything going on in the White House, the same media houses that refuse to air killings of innocent NSAS protesters, and he calls the media hypocrites. Here is a situation where a lot of Nigerian media would have shied away from in the way they would have reported the situation going on in the US, and this Nigerian is concerned. He expects more from our press, the same way CNN and many other international stations have followed the situation in the US. Could this be a wake-up call for the media in Nigeria?
Well, you could say that, but I want some things to be put into context.
Yes.
If whenever you watch the TV, the news, you will see that when news from the US and the rest of the world are reported, they come in clean and stable. And when local news are reported, the visibility and the projection is shaky. It tells you something, very, very open something, that maybe the equipment available to the media houses are not good enough to, because the information they are getting directly is transmitted through equipment that are not controlled. They are not their own equipment. And those equipment cannot be used for their local use. It is only when those international organizations use those equipment for local use can we capture same in real time and properly. Now, having said that, I think that our journalists have done their bit, and I think also that as a nation that is evolving, everything in this country is evolving. I have had very harsh stands in the past, but I now begin to realize that this is the dynamic reality of the country. The country is at a particular stage of development, and we cannot, and unfortunately it is in a global international system where you may still be in the primitive state while others have moved far ahead. So sometimes you enjoy the facilities they provide, but that does not automatically make you industrialized. So they are doing their bit, and they are also facing the dynamic reality of their own environment. I know it's also safe, in quote, to report verbatim and directly what is happening in the US. It is not safe to do same here. And what is the insurance policy of a journalist? How much is his salary? What guarantees does he have? I'm not saying he shouldn't do his job. He's doing his job the best that he can within an environment that is dynamic. He could go strive to do it beyond that and lose his life. What happens next? What about the children? What about the family that is dependent on
All right, at the beginning of the show, Paul mentioned the fact that dictators were enjoying what's happening in the United States. Now, looking at Nigeria and the fact that we learn quickly from the United States, this whole invasion of the capital, what effect does it have on our own politics and our politicians?
But we've done that before, so America is learning from us.
Oh, they are learning from us?
Yes, we are not learning from them in this instance. Yeah. We've done that before. We've even done worse things before, boxing, international boxing, inside the National Assembly, so it's not new. These are symptomatic characteristics of a democracy project, striving and dreaming to become a democratizing process. These are dynamic realities. You see, no matter how beautified they sing, they are just what they are. The behavior of the politicians, their attitudes towards their responsibilities, they epitomize the level of thinking and their capabilities. Expecting them to do more than what they are is a joke. Yes, let's not be carried away by our intellect. Then we begin to assume that everybody is at a particular stage. After all, even in the tertiary institutions, there is usually tug of war to elect a vice chancellor.
Yeah.
So why should it be? What is so special about being a vice chancellor? It is just a responsibility that you are bringing yourself forward to be able to be the leader among leaders, among equals. It is not an opportunity for you to become a demigod. But we still go up to going native just to achieve that goal. It tells us, people like us, that it is not just the academic or the intellectual component or content. It is what we are at a particular stage of our life. And we must evolve beyond that scope to a higher scope.
All right, let's bring in callers waiting to join the conversation. The number to call is 0815-050-1073. Do well to turn down the volume on your radio before you call. We're streaming live on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Darling FM Owerri, where you can see the handsome face of Professor Sam Ezianika. And of course on YouTube, Darling TV. That's where you find us. We also stream on Twitter and Instagram are here. So join the conversation on any of these platforms. Well, we will continue to X-ray what's playing out. While you were talking, I was trying to read some of the reactions from around the world, and I'm hopefully going to share that, but let's take some calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Calling from Mumbisi Road.
Okay, Iroha, is it? Go ahead.
Edwin, not Eze.
Okay, Edwin, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Good morning, Professor Zanyaka, my boss, sir.
Good morning, my dear, and Happy New Year.
I wish you the same, sir. Sir, I'm just happy based on the topic and the way you've been discussing the matter on that focus. That is to make us to understand or let us know that your personality, whom you are, no matter the position you are occupying, in one way or the other, you must reflect whom you are. So sometimes people are being judged because they occupy a particular position, that the position will bring transformation in their personality or whom they really are. No, the reality of whom you are must one way or the other surface. So Trump is just washing his dirty linen outside. He is a racist from my own understanding, and he is What? In fact, I can't just find an adjective to describe what he is doing. To me, we are disappointed with American democracy. That's my submission. Iroha Edwin from the Zero. Thank you.
Right.
Who would have thought a time will come where a Nigerian will call and say he's disappointed with America's democracy?
I will prefer to say disappointed with the presidency of Donald Trump.
That's a distinction.
Anyway, it is a little bit sweeping the entire ground on one issue. But like I said, I began by giving a perspective, a genealogical perspective of a trend that has been there. Trump is a product of his environment. There is a desire, there is a strong desire among a certain group of Americans to go back to status quo ante, to go back to what it was before when they had slaves, when blacks were under them. There is always this joy to have somebody beneath you. It's beastly, but it is there. And there is a realization in the American society now that has gone, that stage has passed. And because of this, some people can't stay in their skin.
Right. I mean,
yes.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, David FM.
Good morning.
My name is Udochi Bochuk. I'm calling from MCC Road. Good morning, Prof.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. I want to look at what is going on in the United States from what do we learn from the events that have been playing out for the past couple of weeks. What happened last time was just a combination of the momentum the president was building. What do we make of all these things? Strong institutions will always come to the rescue. No matter how sophisticated a society like America is, you will always once in a while have people who have these dictatorial tendencies. When they happen to win election, what comes to the rescue is always strong democratic institutions. We have seen how the police, even the Congress, how the Department of Justice have been able to wage the war against Trump's effort to overturn people's choice. So in Nigeria, imagine if Trump, with his autocratic and dictatorial tendencies, happened to be a president in Africa, in any African country where institutions are so weak. What we have here is strong men. There's no rule of law. America is a country ruled by law, not by men. So in Nigeria, as Nigerians, we should look inwards and ask ourselves, if something like Trump happens to us, what will happen? What will happen is what we see when the president single-handedly, arrested judges of the Supreme Court. What we will see a police siding the politicians to overturn the choices of Nigeria. So Nigeria should be worried how strong our institutions or how weak they are. This is always going to come to the rescue if something like this happens. And it has always happened. And unfortunately, dictators in Africa will have a patron and they will have a reference point to say, okay, it happened there, why can't it happen here? So I would like us to begin to support INEC, support independent police. These are democratic institutions that outlives tenors, that outlives politicians.
Thank you.
So that we can begin to have a hope in a better Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, there's no doubt that strong institutions will save democracy, but here in Nigeria, we're yet to even
have strong individuals.
We're yet to even amend the electoral process and come to a conclusion on how our elections should be run as a form of law. And yes, politicians still play politics, and you find a situation where sometimes something that is of national good is so debated to the point where it is jettisoned for personal interest.
On sentimental, tribal, and ethnic considerations.
We'll take one more call and get some reactions from Professor Sam. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
Hello?
Yes, you're welcome, sir. Your name and where you calling
My name is Rich. I'm calling from Nigeria.
All right, go on.
The last call I really spoke my mind. But still, we keep on asking this institution. Is it not meant? These are human beings that decided to uphold the laws of the institution. And they do not mind whether they lose their job or not. I don't know if you can let us when they came back for the certification. All of them, both Republicans and Democrats, condemned the act. In fact, some of them even suggested that they should impeach President possibly to impeach him today. They activated. But in this system, we have beautiful laws in Nigeria. But we see people, we see come back and subvert it just to suit their own personal and selfish interest. But again, keeping the country in perpetual bondage. This nation are still made and governed by humans for goodness sake. This nation will need to stand up and abide by the laws of this land. May God help us.
How do you respond to those calling for strong institutions and, of course, that's...
Well, just like the two speakers have commented, the truth of the matter is that no nation grows from the air. It must build a foundation. And the foundation for the growth of any nation, for the growth of how the nation organizes itself economically, politically, and socio-culturally, is derivable from the institutions that people decide to institutionalize. There is one process. First, you determine the institution. Two, you write the rules and regulations governing this institution, and you make them acceptable and compulsory to everyone in every one of the citizens. Then you institutionalize them. It's not just having them. That is, you give these institutions the capacity and the capability to be self-serving, to be able to have a life of themselves. Now, my argument is that while we desire that, while we aspire that, it is not something you wake up in the morning and say, I want it by next year. It does not happen that way. It takes a learning process, a process of learning by doing, a process of institutionalizing. It takes time to become strong enough to be able to shake off the pressure of a government. The current government in America is very powerful, but for people to be able to institutionally challenge that government, it is because the institution on which they are standing are even stronger than America, if you want to say that. Why? Because people have given these institutions power. They've given them authority. That is why a judge can say no to the president. You can't say it here because the framework for that kind of situation has not arisen yet. It is not enough to desire those institutions. It is not enough to create them. It is fundamental. It is imperative that you make them functioning and functional. And I say this takes a process of learning by doing.
Learning by doing.
Good morning.
Hello. Morning, Paul and Sanders.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, my dear.
This Friday for River State.
All right, Friday, go ahead.
Yes, about top and we are seeing how this are moving now.
Friday, your line is not clear. Can you move around?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, go ahead.
Yes, I can say that we don't come to American matter. What they're doing is democracy, and the people want the people want to follow. They're open to be there. Understand? And Trump is doing some of the power belongs to him. Not which is taking place as he is supposed to be. For Nigeria here, what the family here is rights. We believe in corporate rights. And look at they are doing a protest. They are peacefully, no fire extinguisher, no and no gun discharging. Understand? This is democracy. Let us copy from America. Understand? Let us copy from America for one day. Because in the form of nobody talk to us. I'm not saying they will impeach Trump finally. But let's go for this happening here. Look at kidnapping for local this morning. This morning. What better about it?
Okay, Friday, that's the much our time will allow. But Friday is concerned about the way we tend to copy from developed countries without looking at the peculiarities.
Yes, our own homegrown model.
Exactly. So it's possible for us to even develop a kind of democracy that will
suit us.
Yes,
and that we understand better.
Our culture, our traditions, all of those taken into. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Charles, welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Yes, I want to tie something together here. I want to compare what happened in the US yesterday with what UK said some time ago. Not some time ago, a day or two. Yesterday or today, I can't remember exactly the time, the day he said it. He said DTV should be ready to handle the DTV. The DTV that they should not hesitate. So maybe he has seen the animation on the wall. I don't know if this time is a good one. I want to relate the two scenarios. Because ours is a fragile democracy, and I don't know what's happening to 2023 that maybe we can say so. Maybe he has seen what Trump will do, and he has done. So thank you.
All right, still taking calls, still having your opinion on what's playing out in the US and the lessons to be learned. And we actually take a look and say, hey, wait a minute. If this had happened in Nigeria, how would our political class reacted? Would there be a national condemnation like we're seeing, including people from the other side of the party, and even the vice president?
Well, you know the answer, Paul. You know that everybody will speak from his own side of the divide,
which is always the problem.
If the president's loyalists will speak positive about whatever action it is, the opposition will condemn. Then some,
pockets,
will take sides depending on what sentiments or emotions are playing out in their minds. You understand? Just like Prof has said, the institutions matter.
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. How you doing? What's your name and where you calling from?
Alright, where you are is a bit noisy.
So
that if we can hear you very well. Let's take the next call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Solomon Kadu from Hotel.
Solomon, can you please turn down the volume on your radio? Or move away from it.
I've turned it down.
Okay. Still hear the whole back. Just move away from it. Share with us your thoughts.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
go ahead.
Go on.
Yeah, someone mentioned about channels, the way they're reporting what's going on in America. They should focus more on Nigerian headlines and things that are happening in Nigeria. India Leaky, shooting the name, give us adequate report. They should stop telling us what is happening in America. Well, channels where we can see what is happening in America. They should focus on Nigeria. The governance is bad in Nigeria. Bad roads, the health bad, everything is bad. The school, education system bad. So they should stop telling us anything concerning America. That's my own. They should be talking about Nigeria here. The politicians here, how bad the governance is. That's what they should be talking about. The way forward of Nigeria. We should leave America alone.
All right, thank you. How does this matter in the US really concern?
Affects us.
Yeah, affect us. For our last caller, we shouldn't.
It does affect us. It does affect us in several ways. Some of which include the fact that as we are a nation on the road, on the move. I said we are a democracy project. And this whole process has 3 stages. A democracy project, a democratizing process, and democracy proper. And we are all desirous of the goodies associated with democracy.
Sorry,
we want to enjoy the privileges.
I will have to interrupt you one more time.
Okay.
We have to take some commercials.
Please.
We'll continue from here. Stay tuned.
FM 107.3.
The People's Radio.
Mommy, let's play football. Mommy, help me push my bicycle. Mommy, jump rope. Mommy, here, let's play hide and seek. Mommy, let's have some Twisco. You need it.
It's easy to spot a Twisco kid because they seem to be so active. Introducing new Twisco chocolate drink powder, a unique blend of cocoa, milk, and malt, fortified with Enofort, a special blend of vitamins and minerals that helps give kids the vitality they need for an action-packed day. Twisco, power your dream.
OneXBet huge wins from high odds all the way with the fastest payout. Take more for winning advantages from your deserving bets on all sports, because with OneXBet everyone can win. What about you? Visit our website on onexbet.ng. Use promo code BETNG and get up to 200% bonus on your first deposit. Yes, 200% bonus on your first deposit. OneXBet. Bets for every taste.
Okay, everything is set. The ref has just placed the ball on the penalty mark. The keeper has been asked to leave the post. The go-ahead has been given. All he has to do is score the goal. It's a, oh no! Throw in? Unbelievable! He just played the ball to throw in. How did he miss that?
When everything is said, don't make the wrong move. Call Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers today on 01-271-6000 and join over 1.4 million forward-looking professionals who are making the right move with a pension plan they can trust. Stanbic IBTC Pension Managers, a member of Standard Bank Group.
Have a big Christmas and a fearless New Year.
It's a season to be merry, and most importantly, it's a season to stay fantastically refreshed. From every one of us at Right Foods, we're wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Have a big Christmas and a fearless New Year.
Na success everybody they see. Nobody was there when the journey started. When you had to kill your sleep and sometimes break down with pains, aches and fever. But success lies at the other end of pain. And as a Naija born and bred, we know they carry last. Push through pain with Emzo paracetamol. Then stare pain in the face and say, not today.
For aches, pains and fever, trust Emzo paracetamol. If symptoms persist after 2 days, please see your doctor.
Darling FM 107.3.
Okay, let's continue. Though we have barely 5 minutes left, phone line still buzzing. But before the commercials, you were reacting to the caller who says we should concern ourselves with
issues,
emo matters rather than talk about what's happening in the United States.
Well, no, it is true, but it's also important that we have a global perspective about the trends of democracy, and we have to recognize where we are. That will enable us to know where we are going to, and that enables us also to know where we were before getting to where we are. It is a learning process. Like I have always defined democracy as a culture, as a way of life. It is acquired, it is not bought, it's not purchased. is acquired through a process of learning by doing, through a process of socialization. These processes, each stage I'm mentioning process, that is that it evolves, it grows. And the strength of democracy comes from institutions. It also comes from learning. So we have to learn. And because we are engaged in the learning process, because the learning process is dynamic, Nigerians cannot restrain themselves just to the body of knowledge available to them within their own locality. They must be able to know what transpires elsewhere. Therefore, the example of what is going on in America is a lesson for us. It also is not just a negative lesson, it's also a positive lesson that even at that stage there could be mistakes. So Nigerians may, in the process of learning, key in such situations and develop strategies to mitigate them.
All right. Before we end, I would like to quote what former President Goodluck Jonathan said in his response to what's playing out in the US. Let me just quote him. He said, "I have repeatedly said nobody's political ambition is worth the blood of any citizen in any part of the world. Absolutely nobody. Again, I reiterate that it is better to lose power at the cost of gaining peace than to gain power at the price of losing the peace."
Good luck, Jonathan.
Yes, that's right.
And that's a good lesson for Trump.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of The People's Voice. Very interesting first week.
Yes, interesting. Well, interesting first week. 14 days to see the end of I don't know. That's if the vice president does not. That's the United States, though. 14 days to see the end of Trump's administration.
Right.
And let's see how it plays out.
With the talk of impeachment here and
there, yes.
We're yet to see the last of this invasion. Thank you. Professor Sam Izianyika is with the Department of Political Science, Imo State University, Owerri. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Stay tuned for the news headlines at 10. I am Paul the Magician.
And I'm Zanders. Okay, good morning.
Aha! This song is dedicated to Fela Anukulako Kuti, musical Taliban, #1. Obodo Robodo, Akara Eye, it may be open eye.